There we go. What's up, guys? I have some stuff I wanted to watch with y'all. Let's see. Sure, I'll lower that down. I guess this just came out a few hours ago. So we're going to check this out. And then when we're all done with this, I want to look into crafting a bit and figure out what exactly I'm supposed to do with that, because I have no idea how to attain the things I'm trying to do specifically. And from the first few seconds I watched of the other video before I continued, he said that you can basically craft toward exactly what you want. So I want to see if I can learn how to do that.
Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame, which is coming out 1 week from now on October the 31st. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Hiveborn Crawler pet by following the instructions below. Without further ado, let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame.
We, the Keepers of the Flame, serve the will of the Dreamer. His instructions whispered from beyond the wall of sleep. But now, the Hiveborn are here, on Rayclast, and they seek to poison our world.
Okay, so that's what those things are. Gotcha.
We must close their breaches, destroy their hives, slay their breach lords.
Does that mean the Abyss League is over?
And by his gifts, the Dreamer provides. They brought this war to our world, but we shall end it, whatever it takes.
New trade system. Okay. God damn, that was a lot all at once. Okay, wait. So we got new skills and supports, which honestly, that looks super dope. What the hell are these? New Uber bosses. A new trade system. Is this in-game? This looks like it could be in-game rather than doing the website. That'd be freaking cool.
Now, as you can see, this expansion is a true sequel to the Breach League, first introduced to the game in 2016. We felt like it was time to progress the story of Breach, bringing with it a slew of new updates to the base game. In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into Path of Exile Keepers of the Flame, beginning with the League mechanic, covering all the fearsome challenges it presents, and the new twisted ways you'll be able to empower your character. After that, we'll dive into the new ascendancy options possible with Bloodline classes. Then we'll cover the much anticipated and synchronous trade system coming to Path of Exile 1. Afterwards, move into the new Uber Pinnacle bosses, how to access them, and some new drops worthy of the added difficulty. Finally, we'll cover some notable quality of life improvements before moving on to our supporter packs and challenge rewards. We'll then have a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile's game directors Mark and myself your questions from Twitch chat. And after the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes at 11 AM New Zealand time or 3 PM Pacific. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Breach is a beloved league that has had an iconic history in PoE. We intend to honour that legacy with our first ever sequel league, Keepers of the Flame. This develops every aspect of Breach, adding new layers to discover, richer lore, scarier bosses, and entirely new mechanics. That said, this is still Breach, so you will still be opening breaches and slaying hordes of otherworldly monsters. The Breach Lords have found the means to stabilize the connection between their realm and Wraeclast. Now, with their grip tightening, we learn their true goal in our world, conquest. The threat they pose has now escalated to home soil. On the coast in Act 1, you'll encounter Aelith, the founder of the Keepers of the Flame. This is a monastic order sworn to defend Wraeclast from the Breach Lords. The exit to the Mudflats has been barricaded by Hiveborn, Breach monsters that are working to claim every inch of Wraeclast. Aelith can grant you a small spark of the power of the Flame, allowing you to blast away their barricade and move onwards. Once you enter the Mudflats, you'll find it infested with Breach monsters. They appear to be constructing a kind of hive, creating strange shapes and structures that absolutely don't belong. Time to purge them with fire. Aelith needs you to protect her as she empowers the Flame to do so. Hold off the assault long enough, and she'll be able to demolish the hive with cleansing flame. In other areas, the gap between worlds is strained. Here, you'll find a more familiar encounter.
So he's trying to make sure that she doesn't die. I wonder how hard that's going to be on the later difficulties.
With a new twist. A massive breach hand sunders the space between dimensions, and touching it will open an unstable breach, causing monsters to flood in. If you can slaughter them quickly enough, you can stabilize the breach. This brazen action can draw the attention of Vroon, Marshal of Zesht, who will do everything it can to stop you. Defeating this boss will permanently seal the breach, severing another connection between the Breach Lord's world and Wraeclast. These stabilized breaches are similar to what a breach once was, but with upgraded monsters, a success condition to shoot for, UI tracking to keep the player informed of their progress through the encounter, and satisfying feedback when you do manage to complete the encounter. We've taken all the lessons we've learned since the release of Breach 9 years ago and improved upon it in every way we can. However, much of the joy of Breach came from its simplicity. While we want to modernize the mechanic, we don't want to undermine the core experience. You're still mostly just slaughtering hordes of enemies in a circle.
No, wait. Herpity derpity. Wrong game. Anywho.
Path of Exile 2's Abyssal League has been out for a couple of weeks now. We had a complete overhaul to the crafting system this league, where the crafting is much more deterministic now. If you know what you want to craft and you have the items to do it, you can now make your best in slot. You can now tailor an item how you want, rather than just having pure RNG, where you just slam an item with exalts and hope for the best. So today I want to do a up-to-date crafting guide. So we'll go from the start, you know, item tiers, the difference between prefixes and suffixes, item bases, and we'll work our way through, you know, all the different things, essences, fracturing, until we get to the end, where we talk about, you know, decrepifying and homogenizing and whittling, things like that, the complicated omens, and how we actually look at an item and say, okay, I want to make this Bis bow. Where do I start? I want to do this. Where do I start? Because the people have made guides on how to craft a certain item. But when you're playing and something drops, the importance of just being able to just craft on it and finishing it is so important. Having to look up a guide every time you want to know a specific step is quite tedious. It's better to learn the mechanics and learn some tricks.
You can choose to raid the caravan.
I want to raid the caravan.
You can choose to guard it. This is a game where
if I could choose to guard it,
to finish off items as you're playing. So, and I'll timestamp all of this. So if you know the basics, if you just need to know the new stuff, then you can just skip ahead to where you feel like you might learn something. And hopefully everyone finds this useful. If you do, you consider subscribing. But let's get straight into it. Okay, first let's talk about item quality and affixes. So I'm going to craft everything along with you to make it as simple and easy to follow as possible. So we have two items here. This one's normal. This one is magic. The first thing to know is implicits. So implicits are something that happens before you roll affixes. So an item can have 6 affixes. And before we get into the affixes, depending on the item, it can have an implicit. So that is the thing that rolls before this line. You see there's a line here, like there's like a blue line. Above this is the implicit. You can see it says that's implicit. And then below it is the suffix. So the suffix is one of the 6 affixes. The implicit is because this is this type of bow. So this is a guardian bow, so it has a chance to chain. Attacks have a chance to chain. Here we have a Gemini bow, where bows have a chance to fire an additional arrow. So already you can learn that with the implicits, some items are going to be much more desirable than others. For example, this one, the chance for bows to shoot an additional arrow is very, very, very wanted. And that makes the Gemini bow, I'm assuming it's still the same, is one of the best bows in the game, right? Because everybody wants those additional arrows. So your implicits are very important. So when it comes to crafting, that's one thing to look out for. Now, we will just go on to working on this same one bow. Put this away. So when we have this, we now need to upgrade it into the different qualities and start adding the affixes. And remember, implicit is not an affix. Implicit is just built into the item all the time. So if we want to turn it from a normal into an item with affixes, we have to use an orb of transmutation. Now it becomes magic and it gets 1 modifier. So it just gained a suffix, which is the first affix. And now it's magic. Then we can use the orb of augmentation.
That makes sense. I just kept hearing suffix and affix and prefix, and I'm like, I know how that works in terms of grammar, I think. But like, I have no idea how that applies to the fucking game.
To add a second modifier, we got accuracy rating, the prefix. Okay. So now it is a magic with 2 affixes, and that is the most we can get. We can't add any more affixes to a magic item. Now we need to use a regal orb to turn it rare.
Is it, if this is the prefix and this is the suffix, is it like this pre to the attack and then post attack? Is that how that's working? And then this is just the guaranteed, like you said, built into the weapon? That would make sense. Because, this is applying prior to you actually hitting the thing, like that's what's helping it hit. And then this would be, taken prior, or post hit, I should say.
And give it another affix. So now it's a rare, and it has 3 affixes. Now, the only way to give it more affixes is to use Exalted Orbs, and we can give it up to 6 affixes. We did 3 more. Now it has 3 affixes. Now it has 6 affixes. So that's now finished. And you can see here, there might be additional lines, and then that's just because this affix here has 2 things. This has some physical damage and some accuracy, but that is just 1 affix. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 affixes on here. And that's now a finished item. You cannot craft on this anymore with basic materials. Okay, now let's talk about the differences between prefixes and suffixes. So every item, bar a couple, can roll 3 suffixes and 3 prefixes. So, every, finished rare item will have 6 affixes. 3 will be prefix, 3 will be suffix. That's just it. And what can roll in each place is determined by, there's like a list of things that can roll as a prefix, a list of things that can roll as a suffix. So if you have an item like a weapon, like a staff, a quartz staff, all of the big attacks, like added lightning, added cold, added fire damage, all of these things, the big damage things that make up the damage of your main weapon, they're all prefixes. So if you're trying to roll a 4th one, you can't, right? Then in the suffixes, you have things like melee skills, you have stun buildup, physical damage as life, you have crit, and all that sort of stuff. So it's important to know where things roll when it comes to crafting, so that you're not fishing for something in a suffix that only can roll in a prefix. And that's the same for like all items. If you're trying to make like a really good, say neck, you need to know that like the levels to melee skills only rolls as a suffix. If you're trying to find that in the prefixes, you're not going to. So if you have like an item that's like 5 out of 6 rolls and you're rolling for the 6th one, it's good to know what can roll there. Similarly, like all of your resistances, like the evasion and stuff is like prefix. So your evasion, armor, energy shield is in the prefix, and then the resistances like cold, lightning, fire, chaos, they roll in your suffixes. So yeah, gotcha. Really important to know. And I will show you so websites like this are really good. It's called PoE2DB. I'll link it down below. But basically what this can do is you can click modifiers, you can pick an item. So for example, we were just looking at quartz staffs. So if we click quartz staffs, you can see here, all of these things can roll as a prefix. All of these things can roll as a suffix. So if you're looking for a certain thing, it's good to know what can roll where. And I use this website a lot when I'm trying to like craft certain things, because it's good to know, physical, fire damage, cold damage, lightning damage, increased physical damage. you know that you want to hit all of these things to make a good quarterstaff. You probably don't want to hit accuracy rating, or you probably don't want to add this hybrid of physical and accuracy. Similarly on the suffixes, you might want to hit crit chance, you might want to hit crit damage, you might want to hit levels to melee skills, but you probably don't want to hit life per enemy, or, you know, increased stun duration. So it's really good to see what can roll. And then it also comes into later when we look at the tags, because that can help us as well. You can look at the tags, you can look at the weighting as well here of the chance for it to roll. So some things are more popular than others. You're more likely to roll cold damage than you are to roll increased physical. You're more likely to roll, you know, dexterity than you are intelligence. Things like that, and it's different for every single item. So this can be useful when you're looking at certain items. Okay, now let's talk about tiers and item levels. This is one of the most important things to get your head around if you're new. I made a beginner's guide recently and there was a lot of confusion here, so I want to just make this clear. A low tier is good, a high tier is bad. When the game first came out, it was the other way around, and lots of the old guides are going to tell you that high tiers are good. That's wrong. In a patch like a couple of months ago, they flipped it around, and now the low tier is the best. And the reason they did that is so that you know when you have a good roll. Before, if you got a tier 8, that could have been the best, but maybe tier 9 was better, but you don't know what the cap is. Now they flipped it, tier 1 is best. So you know if you have a tier 1, no matter what the item is, you have the best roll. So like if you hover over something and you see tier 1, you know you've got a really good roll. Tier 2.
Okay. That's good to notice. That was something I was curious of.
Pretty good roll. Tier 6, bad. Tier 8, very bad. So the lower the tier, the better the roll on the item. If we're looking at something like this, like lightning damage, a tier 1 roll goes up to 358 lightning damage, as you can see. Whereas if you had a tier 6, it might only be like 30-40 lightning damage. So the higher tier is significantly more important than anything else, I would say. Okay, now let's talk about item levels. So tiers are limited by item levels. So if you're in the campaign and you have a low level wand, maybe you can only get 20-30% chaos damage, like on a level 10 wand. Whereas if you're at end game and you have a level, you know, 90-80 wand, maybe you can roll 150 chaos damage. Because it's a higher level, it can roll to a higher tier.
Okay.
And it's important to look at your item and hold down Alt against, look at the description. This here is the level. This is the level you need to be to equip it. So this, you need to be level 64 to equip this quarterstaff. However, the item level is at the top. The item level is 82. So this exact quarterstaff will roll in all sorts of different item levels. There'll be 79, 81, 80, 82, 83. And if you have a high roll, like a high item level, it will sell much better because it can roll to a higher tier generally, but depending on, you know, different on each item. And that is when people are looking for crafting bases. They're looking for items in normal quality or low, you know, so they can do as much crafting as possible with a very high item level, so it can make sure it rolls at the highest tiers. So if you see people selling like normal items for like, you know, a divine or like, you know, 50 exalted, it's because it's a really high item level and it's a very desired item. So that's really important. Again, we can look at this website and I can show you. We'll go on body armor and we'll go on dex because that's what I know the most about. That's what I play the most right now. We'll go on dex body armor.
I remember thinking that a bit when I was
just no matter what you were playing, you know, strength, it would be armor, magic, it would be energy shield. But on dex items, it's evasion. And if we look at increase evasion as a prefix, you can see here, I'll scroll it. You can see on a low level item, that's item level 2, you can only get 26% increased evasion. On a high level, level 875 plus, you can get up to 110% increased evasion. So this would be tier 1. This would be tier 2. This would be tier 3, etc., etc. So this is a good roll. This is like the best roll. So if you're looking to craft a piece of body armor, it needs to be at least item level 75 to get tier 1 rolls. Similarly on the resistances, if we look at like fire resistance, to get a tier 1 roll of fire resistance, your item needs to be 82 plus. So if you're crafting on a chess piece that's level 81, and you think, oh, why am I not hitting those like best rolls? You could be limited. So make sure you're always crafting with an item that hits the requirement to get to tier 1. Okay, now let's talk about deterministic crafting. So when we're just throwing items in and hoping for the best, you know, when we go into our stash and we just throw on these things here and just hope for the best, very risky. You're most likely going to get a bad item. And if you do get something good, you're very lucky. And that's pretty much all we were doing until the Abyssal League, where we got this big crafting overhaul. But now we have deterministic crafting, where we can say, I want to make this item, and we have a good chance of making it, or we get pretty close to it. And the thing to know is, the more risk you take out of a craft, the more RNG you take away, the more expensive the craft becomes. You can guarantee certain things to happen on a craft, and that can be very, very, very costly on materials. So I've got a couple of bows here just to show you, and we'll just throw some things on them and kind of I'll show you what happens. So if we're doing a basic craft, the first thing you want to do is these are both normals. So the first thing you want to do is you want to add a roll. So we can use an orbit transmutation, which could add any roll, or we could use a perfect orb, which has the chance to add a much higher roll. So you're guaranteeing a higher tier. You're more likely going to get like a tier 1, 2, 3 than like an 8. So if we use this on both, you can see this one got attribute requirements, but it's tier 1. This one got leech mana, but it's tier 1. Both pretty bad. Now if we take these, we can add a second one. So we got an 89% increased elemental damage, which is a tier 1, and we got added lightning damage, which is a tier 2. So, not great. They're it is what it is, but they're high tiers. We got high tiers because we use higher quality items. Okay, now we want to turn this from a magic to a rare. You see, we can't add any more affixes on a magic. We need to turn it to rare. Now we can use a regal orb and just get a random roll, and we could get anything, right? But you could get something you don't want. What we can do is we can use like a perfect regal and then get a high roll of a random thing, or we can use essences. With an essence, we can guarantee what we get next. So if I go onto here and what I do is I go into essences and I type in like weapon, and you can look at the great affixes. All of these here can be used on a weapon. So what could we add to these bows? We could add two-handed melee. We can add fire damage. We can add cold damage. We can add lightning damage, physical, accuracy, attack speed, or crit hit chance. So say we wanted to add crit hit chance. We would buy one of these, and this is, 2 exalteds. So buy one of those. Okay, so on this item on the left, we're going to add crit, which we've done. We've got a 3.13% crit chance. So we could add, say physical to this. So if we roll physical, you see now we have a tier 3 physical roll. So you can see with essences, we can choose what to add when we turn it from a magic to a rare. So our third affix, we can deterministically choose it by using an essence. And these are just lower level ones for lower level items, but generally at endgame, all you'll be using is greaters. The perfect do something completely different, which we'll talk about later. But turning it from a magic to a rare, you use greater affixes when you're when you're using the majority of endgame items. So that's really, really useful. And it works for everything. If you're doing like a wand, you can use that, and you could add spell damage. You can add 89% spell damage, which is massive to a wand. And it works with like gear as well. You can add like evasion to body armors, things like that. So that's really, really useful and something you definitely should be doing when you're trying to craft gear. Now, how do we finish this off? If we have an item like this, we can just go random. We can go random and we can just go 1, 2, 3. Okay, the item's done. And now, we got fire damage, we got accuracy, you got some light radius. Trash. You can finish an item like that. You can just throw affixes on. Yeah, you can throw exalteds on and just give it affixes and hope for the best. That's the worst thing you can probably do. You can just throw things on, and you usually end up with rubbish like this. So I'm going to put this away. That's one thing. The next thing we can do is we can do, again, more deterministic crafting. So I bought another one and crafted with it to show you 2 examples now. So let's say you're in this position where you have your 3. You've got this one here where the 2 prefixes are good, but they're both damaged, lightning damage, physical damage, and then you have leech damage as mana. That's bad. So you've got 2 good prefixes and you've got a bad suffix. So we want to add another prefix, but we don't really like our suffix. Here we have lightning damage, physical damage, and none of these are like S tier bows. This is just to show you examples. We've got 2 good prefixes, and we've got crit damage bonus on the suffix, which is good. That works for a lot of builds that use crit. So there we've got 3 good things. On both of these, we want to add another good prefix. So what do? So I'll show you a few things you can do when you're at this point and you're trying to think what to do next. And this isn't exhaustive of everything you can do, but it's just a good example. So if we go to Ange and we go to the exchange, I would type in here and I would just type in prefix. Type prefix in the search.
Whoever invented this deserves a raise. Take a string and a pencil, twist off the faucet's old nozzle like this, then get the U-shaped faucet extension. And these are all the things we can do that will impact the prefix, because we want to add a prefix. So we can do a Sinstral exaltation. What would that do? It will make sure the next exalted only adds a prefix. I mean, that's okay, but it doesn't make sure it's going to be good. It doesn't do anything in particular. We've got an erasure, which will re-roll the prefix, which is, again, it's okay, but we don't want to re-roll those 2 that we already have because they're good. We've got Sinstral Annulment, which will remove a prefix. We don't want to remove a prefix. And we have
Your next perfect or corrupted essence will remove a prefix. Again, we don't want to remove a prefix. All we have is Sinstro Necromancy. Your next desecration will add only a prefix. So we can add a desecrated prefix. That's really good. So we'll grab one of these. These aren't that bad, I don't think. 13, yeah, they're fine. So we'll grab one of these. And then again, if we type in here, we know we want to remove a suffix here. So if we go suffix, what do we have? We have your next Exalted Orb will add suffix. Your next Chaos Orb will remove a suffix. That's not bad. But how much is this? That's like 2 divines. That's pretty bad. So we go back, suffix. Dextral Enormon will remove a suffix. How much is that? 500. That's like, you know, 3 or 4 divines. That's a lot. And what about this one? Dextral Crystallization. Your next perfect or corrupted essence will remove a suffix. How much is that? 23. Okay, we'll get one of those. So this will remove a suffix when we use a perfect or corrupted essence, and this will add a guaranteed prefix. So if we're looking at these, what do we want to do with this one here? This one, we've got good prefixes and a good suffix. All we want to do is add another good prefix. So we can use a desecration here, and this will make sure the next desecration goes in the prefix slot. So we can use the abyssals. So we have these things here. I'm going to assume you know what these are because they kind of in the story, they show you these. But basically you have these preserved things. That's for weapons and quivers. That's for armors. And that's for amulets, rings, and belts. So you just use these to add a desecrated modifier. You unveil it at the well. So this is a bow. So it would be a jawbone. So I've got these already, but I'm just buying it to show you easier. So let's do this. So we will add this. So we highlight this to make sure we add a prefix, and then we're adding it to this one here. And then we add it like this. So now we have 3 prefixes, and we are going to go and use the well to identify this. Okay, at the well, we'll go in, we'll throw this in and see what we get. So we got pretty bad rolls, to be honest. We got 20% increased elemental damage with attacks, 31% increased bonus from quiver. That's not bad, actually. That's not a bad one. I'm not sure what the tier is on that, but you can go on that website and look if it's a high tier or not before you make your choice. And it's a tier 1. Okay, it's a tier 1 roll. So we have increased bonuses gained from equipped quiver, which is a really good thing to have. That's a good thing, you know. Your quivers can be massive source of damage, so a 30% increase to your quiver is really, really good. You can lower your risk here by buying a Omen of Echo, I think it is, which lets you re-roll if you don't like any of the choices. Okay, so we've got 3 good prefixes and a good suffix. How do we keep deterministically crafting? How do we keep adding things that we want and avoiding things we don't want? Well, we can go into here and we can just throw on a Greater Exalted and hope for the best. That's the one solution, the cheapest solution. And, you know, we could get something good, but we could not. We could get something bad. So what can we do? Well, we can go and use this item here. We can go onto the exchange and we can use these items here. The homogenizing exaltation. And that means the next Exalted will add the same type as an existing modifier on the item. So to keep it really simple, affixes have tags. So assuming your item had crit, there is a chance that that crit will get carried in and you will then get another affix that has crit, right? Keeping it really simple. So if we were to look on the website, which we've showed earlier, you can see here, this is a bow and these are the tags. So if we used a homogenizing exaltation, we make sure that the next Exalted hits something we already have. So we have, what do we have? We've got lightning damage. Let me just double check. We have lightning damage, we have physical damage, crit damage, and bonus from quiver. So we have this lightning damage, we have physical damage, we have bonus from quiver, which is down here, which is a Kurgle modifier. And then we have crit damage, which is damage, attack, and crit. So if we use a homogenizing exaltation, we're only going to get things that have these tags. So damage, elemental, fire, attack, critical, damage, attack, which means we're not going to get reduced attribute requirements. We're not going to get dexterity because that's an attribute. We're not going to get gain life on enemy. So we take out a lot of the bad affixes here. We take out a lot of the trash, the things we don't want. There are some things, you know, we would like that we're losing, but we take out a lot of the stuff we don't want. We could obviously still get accuracy rating, but when it comes to some items, you can use this in a really, and these are just examples. You could use this in a really specific way to get the exact thing you want at this point in the craft. If you tailored it perfectly, people do it with crit. They like guarantee crit so that when it comes to this point, they can guarantee the exact thing they get. And that's one way to really, you know, take the risk out of the final part of the craft. So I'll show you now back in game. Right, we've got one here, so we'll grab this. So
it's a little convoluted, but
if we use this,
if you feel like your brain craves pleasure just as much as it craves being a man of integrity,
I kind of want to try and then start the game, but
I'm
not sure if I'm like missing anything.
and then we use an Exalted Orb. We would then get a guaranteed thing here that matches the things already on the item. So hopefully taking out any of the bad stuff. Now, another thing we can do here to further reduce cost is if we go into our ritual, we can use these things. These things here, it just means when you use an Exalted Orb, it'll use 2. So we can basically use this twice by using a Greater Exaltation, if that makes sense. Hope that's not too confusing. So now, if we use both of these, what we're doing now is we're adding 2, we're going to use a Greater Exalted Orb to add 2 suffixes, because that's all that's left. So we're going to add 2 suffixes. Those 2 suffixes are going to use the Homogenizing Exaltation to only have tags that we already have on this. So hopefully no attributes, no reduced, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully just good things. It's still going to have luck, but it takes out some of the RNG. So if we use that, what do we get? We got 4% crit chance and leech physical damage as mana. That's pretty good. We now have a bow with crit damage, crit chance, you know, physical damage, lightning damage. That's not a bad bow, all tier 2, tier 3. You know, this isn't best, but it's pretty good. And we took out a lot of the bad risks here. We ended up with something pretty good. Okay, so we've covered how to add affixes as deterministically as possible, getting the affixes that we want and removing as much RNG as possible. Now, what about removing affixes? Let's say you hit something you don't want. How do we take it off? How do we remove an affix? Well, let's use this as an example. We have 2 good prefixes and a good and a bad suffix. How do we remove that suffix? Well, one option is using an Orb of Annulment. An Orb of Annulment will remove a random modifier from an item. So you could use that. The only problem is it's a 1 in 3 chance. There is a 1 in 3 chance that you get rid of the leech and a 2 in 3 chance you get rid of lightning or physical. So you're more likely to get what you don't want, right? Where an Orb of Annulment is good is where you have lots of things you don't want and a couple of things you do. So for example, I bought this one here. You can see this has a tier 8, a tier 9, a tier 5. It has lots of bad things, but then it has one very good thing. It has crit hit chance. So you could use an Orb of Annulment on this, and you have a 3 in 4 chance of getting rid of something you don't want, and a 1 in 4 chance of it going wrong. So if we annul it, this will remove modifier, and we don't want to lose the crit hit chance. And we didn't. We kept the crit hit chance. So you see, you removed a modifier you don't want with an Orb of Annulment. The other option for removing an affix is using a Perfect Essence. So we've already used a Perfect Essence before, but what if we use it to target something we don't want? So here we have this suffix we don't want. So what if we take this here? While this is in your inventory, the next Perfect Essence will remove a suffix. So if we highlight this and then we get an essence over here, we go to essences, we type in weapon, and then we'd go for the Essence of Battle again, which adds 6 levels to attack skills. We grab this, it's 30 now. We grab one of these. So now we can use this to remove the leech and add +4 attack skills. So if we do that, there you go. So now we have lightning, physical, and 4 levels of attack skills, which is really, really, really nice. You know, that's a really good start to a bow. So yeah, you can use that to target things you don't want. You can also do the other way around. If we go onto here and we go onto the exchange, you can go remove, and you can see there's Sinstral Crystallization, which would have removed a prefix, and there's Dextral Crystallization, which removes a suffix. Now you can take removing affixes even further. If we were to look here, I'm not going to use these, I'm just going to show you because there's a lot of different things. So if we look at removing affixes, we can use an Omen of Whittling, and that will remove the lowest thing on an item, so the thing with the worst roll. You can use Sinstral Erasure, where you will remove prefix. Dextral Erasure will remove suffixes. You can use the Sinstral Annulment or the Dextral Annulment, which will make sure when you use an Orb of Annulment, it will only target the prefixes and suffixes. So say we wanted to remove another affix on this to try and keep the crit chance, we could target the prefix. We could target the prefix and get rid of that, and then we'd only have the crit and the attack speed left, right? So you could target with that, same way we removed it with the annulment, we'd do it again, but we'd only hit the accuracy, which again is an expensive way to narrow down on an item to the one thing you want. Okay, now we haven't spoke about fracturing. fracturing is when you use a fracturing orb to lock an affix in place. So say you have a really good roll, you get lucky and you hit like a max roll on something and you want to keep it. And then you want to remove everything else and go from there so that you can start crafting from scratch. Or you want to lock something to reduce the risk of losing it when you remove something else. Say you want to, using an annulment, you want to make sure that you don't accidentally remove this later on. You would fracture it. So it is a 1 in 4 chance of hitting. So say this here, this has crit chance. I want to lock this crit chance in place because that leads to a very good crafting method later on. So I'm going to lock this crit chance in place. And then when we're messing around with suffixes later on, we won't risk losing that.
All right, come with me. I'm going to show you why oats overnight is your new favorite breakfast. It all starts with high quality ingredients.
To do that, it has a 1 in 4 chance of working. So there are only 3 modifiers on right now. So what we could do is add another modifier with an Exalted Orb and go for a 1 in 4 chance. Another thing we could do is use a Jawbone to add a desecrated modifier. So do I have a Jawbone? Yeah. So if I use this, now this has 4 modifiers, right? And we have a 1 in 3 chance now of hitting, because you can't remove the green unveiled modifier. So now with the Fracturing Orb, we have a 1 in 3 chance instead of a 1 in 4 chance. So we want to hit the crit chance. If we do, awesome. If we don't, the item's going in the bin. So we hit the accuracy. You see it's gone yellow. That's like locked it in place. No matter what we do with this item now, we can annul it and remove an affix. Nothing will roll. We can start using Chaos Orbs to like change affixes a lot. And as we do that, the accuracy will not change. You can see a lot. No matter what you change, the accuracy stays in place. So this is a very good way to lock something for further crafting. Okay, so corrupting. When we corrupt an item, we turn it red like this. So it goes red. And you see the big red, the corruption at the bottom. And then nothing else can change on the item. It's then locked in place. Corruption is one of the best ways to get insane amounts of wealth in this game. If you can corrupt a good item and take it from like a 2-socket item to a 3-socket item, amazing. If you can roll extra stats on an item, like for example, these boots, they have 23% fire resistance from the corruption. So now they have lightning, 43% fire, and an extra 23% fire from corruption. You gain a massive boost. But in corrupting those boots, I could have also lost the movement speed, making them worthless. So corrupting is a very good end game thing to do. So I could take, say, I'll take this ring here and corrupt it to show you. So if I take this ring here and I grab an Omen of Corruption, a Valorb, sorry, you can use a Omen, but let's talk about the Valorb. You can use a Valorb to randomly corrupt this item. And you can see it has rarity, 19 physical, 93 lightning. It's a very nice item. I like this item. We're going to corrupt it. And what happens? So yeah, what we did there, we lost like 5 physical, I think. I think we lost a little bit of physical. I think it was like 5 maybe altogether. Not sure. But yeah, these can have really, really good results. They can also have very bad results. But I try and corrupt most of my items just because it's fun. And you can hit some really good stuff. Okay, now let's talk about divining and sanctifying an item. So when you divine an item, you use a divine orb on an item. It can't be corrupted. What you would do is you would roll the affix within its tier to try and get better results. So if we looked at this chess piece, what we could do is we could roll this evasion energy shield to go from 40 and try and hit 42. We could roll the fire resistance to try and go up from 36 to 40. And using a divine orb would roll all of these within those brackets to try and hit a high roll. So this would be a good item to use it on because you see we have a low roll on lightning, a low roll on intelligence, a low roll on fire. The tiers wouldn't change. They would still be tier 2, 3, 2 at the bottom. All of these would stay in the same tier, but the roll would, you know, just roll randomly.
So like everything that's within the.
So if you have an item that is all low, you know, some of these are high, some are low, so probably wouldn't use it on this, and it's corrupted a bit. I can't. But if you had everything low, a divine orb could really push things up. These are really good on like things that you've got everything tier 1 and you're trying to get that last bit of juice out. Now for sanctifying, what that does is it's like a divine, but when you use your divine orb, it will also push the modifiers above and below the bracket. So you can see sanctify. Sanctifying an item will randomize the values within their range 80% to 120. So you're pushing it above its tier. So if you have a tier 1, you can actually get it above tier 1, which is wild. So what you can do is, you see I have this ring here. This ring has lightning tier 1, cold tier 1, and increased lightning damage tier 1. 3 very, very good rolls. You know, it's 34 damage, 94, 93 damage, and 40%. I can use an Omen of Sanctification and a Divine Orb to try and push those higher. They could roll low, and I could lose tons of damage, which is, it's all RNG. And then when it's sanctified, you can't make any more changes. So I'll do it live. We'll see what we get. So right now we're on what? 34, 93, and 40. So if we use that, we're now 30, 98, and 44. So yeah, that's really nice. A little bit less cold damage, but a lot more lightning with the lightning damage and the increased lightning damage. And then it's sanctified, obviously, so it can't be changed anymore. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I mean, there's loads more like little intricacies and little tricks you can do and little things you can do along the way. But I just wanted to show a full detailed walkthrough of how to process some crafts and how to get through some crafts and the things you can do along the way to lower your risk. And I hope it helped. If you do have any questions, let me know. And if you want to add anything else for other people, things you've learned, that would be really useful. I could craft.
That was pretty informative. How's this? Right, I was just checking it out when my game loaded up. No, I don't think so. Oh. Let's say it just came out 2 days ago. Right? Maybe we can all try it together. Okay. And then to do that too. What I do? Okay. I didn't mean to close the game. God damn it. It just loaded.
This isn't the place or the time. This isn't the place or the time.
Let's see. Isn't even very good. The movement speed is good. Better than that. Okay. So I really shouldn't be too worried about re-gearing. Interesting, this has no base quality. What do that is. haven't explained some of my shortcomings when it comes to like trying to get through these maps. I don't know if I should do this 5th one or not. Let me see, 1 second. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I've had the wrong one this whole time. Which was like rapid attacks too. Okay. Where did that go? Don't need that at all. Just with deliberation. Yes. Can I not use it? Weird. Okay. This way for now. And then man, this means I got some changes to do on this character. I don't think I have that felt.
This is not the place or the time.
It recommends having a sapphire and a ruby. Just to have more prefits ready. So when I do that. That's pretty damn good. Okay. I wonder if I'd be able to put it like lightning and fire on one thing. Worth a try. Oh, that's okay. That's the implicit. Okay. So I should even get rid of some of these other things I wanted to. There's only one prefix. I don't need accuracy at all. Okay. It's awful. Man, that's kind of cool. What's the difference? Okay, well, we're gonna do the other ship first, so I don't fuck this up. Alright, so we want to add fire to the fire. Nice. Then what we got going on here? This one is better than this one, right? There's a lot of tier 6s. So one tier 1. I don't need mana regen, so for yeah, literally everything can go on this one. Okay. I don't really care for either one of these. Okay. In that case, let's do. Try Okay, chaos resistance isn't bad, not very much of it, but better than nothing. Evasion, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna leave that. That's better. Let's see if it's modifiers. This doesn't necessarily matter. Turns out magic. Gotcha. Do they have to register? Okay, that's fine. Armor belt, jewelry. Can't put anything else on here, huh? I don't necessarily need the belt I currently have. These rings I want to keep, but like the rest of the shit can go. So I'm gonna wait until I get something better, and then I'll throw those on there rather than try to do something with these. Okay, and they just said to try my first desecration. I think that's what I want to do. I don't know if I should add more mods first. I forget. What my best choices here. See, if I once I desecrate it, I just can't do anything else to it. I forget. I don't want to like make sure I can't add any more shit. What's a mana moon modifier? What's up? go to Well of Souls. Streets of rain. I'm not eating your stuff. I want to figure out how to remove the prefixes specifically, as I'll need those. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Power shaped in the bowels of
Oh boy, go get the ring. Oh yes, that's a good little demon. Cool. And then I'll do this one. 95 to abrasion rating, that's pretty good. Yeah, but let's do that. Just lift it there. Oh my god, dude. Hell yeah. I got all the way up to 39%. We got 65 fire, 70 cold. We just need a booster, a lightning, or boon. I can replace these with lightning essence or rune things now, honestly. I'll just do that. Sweet, got 2 of them. Perfect. What's this? Fire. Cold. Intelligence. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll be joining with you guys here in a little bit. I just want to wrap up what I'm doing and then we have some fun. Love you. How did your stuff go?
Good.
Good.
I did use my silver today because I played with Justin for an hour.
Oh yeah.
So I just wanted to do. I was going to say to myself that I wanted to do Wish Chat tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can get my full 2 hours instead of only 1 hour.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That way, yeah, you don't have only 1 hour. I'm like, oh, that didn't last as long.
Right.
Justin, you know what you can maybe get to, so just give me just a minute and you share the other stuff, okay? Thank you. Alright, so we're nice like a delay. Give a minute. We're gonna shut this for a second.
And then, yeah, I guess I should start keeping my eye out on gray armor. Now that I understand the crafting system better. I don't have to like rely on just picking up gold stuff, I can just kind of make it whatever I want it to be. At least do it and it's done. Gotcha. I don't want to do that per se. I could definitely use some better stuff because I got evasion and that's about it. Like all the other modifiers, like a little bit of crit, but like everything else sucks. I got resistance, but everything else sucks. So like I'm only getting like 1 or 2 things on all of these. I could definitely make these items better. As well as the tier is not good. It does have 2 tier 2s. That's 1 tier 1, but it's not something I don't actually need. It's all poop. 2 tier 1s for nothing to need. It'd be good if it was like a mage or something. Lots of poop.
see that being too much cheaper than what
Mm-hmm.
But Target, she got the same and they lasted 2 years. So, and I think it's the same brand.
We should check out like Ross and stuff too.
Okay, and it's usually just dependent on how much like her size they have available. But we can always look, they're right next door.
Just for less.
Oh, I think there's that footwear house right next to her.
Famous footwear.
Yeah, we can always see if they have any options in there and see what their pricing is in there because I think
Contains
they're kind of like
apologies.
Interesting when people get happy over noticing something. For instance, I saw this girl, a lot of the time when I'm messaging and scheduling things for work, people will have like comments in their name. Like it'll say like off this day or busy with clients, replies are slow. Something like that. This one girl said that she was sick, so her replies were down. And I just said, thanks for scheduling, like, I hope you feel better. And she was like, oh, like, thank you. Like, she would, like, if anything, like, put, like, a bunch of, like, little emojis and stuff. And she was, like, all, like, oh, thanks for noticing. This person that I just scheduled with said that she was working on a goal towards going on vacation with her dog to Hawaii. And I was like, I hope you make your goal and get to go to Hawaii with your dog.
So I want to get to this one with this, because that would be like crazy drops, about 200%.
It's crazy. It's like crazy to think this isn't real. Like it doesn't exist. Like it does, but it like.
I get your point. Yeah.
Yeah. Chester, what you doing?
I don't know. It would be better because this is like a vault. Do those. Poison thing. Poison. Alright, so do I go to the vault or to this spot first? I mean, this is just kind of a random waypoint. I'm not really getting anything accomplished by going over there, so I guess we'll do the vault. If I can build my evasion just a little bit higher, I don't know what the cap is, if there even is one. But if I can get it a bit higher, then I'll be like damn near 50%, which means like every other hit will miss.
This is all an illusion.
I'd get more if I killed more, but I didn't want to kill as much as I was supposed to. That makes sense. I'm gonna do a quick wrap up on this map. Get to this boss and
Hello there.
We're back on the
As
track.
do I.
On the mine. Don't eat the mushroom.
He seems kind.
You sure about that placement? I hope you know what you're doing.
nope.
Break the earth. I've no room for that. carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that. I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that. I carry few possessions. I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that. I must maintain a fine balance. I carry few possessions, and I don't have room for that.
Oh, there's like everything here is this.
Thunderous demise.
Interesting.
I carry few possessions.
I am the king of electricity. We are the power of Zeus, motherfucker!
I've no room for that.
Okay. Well, that's that. Alright, well, I know that wasn't the most eventful stream, but I need to get off. I'm gonna hang out with the family a little bit before my daughter crashes out. I'll be back on Thursday. What today is? Saturday. I'll be back on Saturday. Let me put this stuff away real quick. Disenchant this shit.
Yes.
$374. Oh wow. These are significantly better than my current boots. Holy shit. Yeah. Those are done. That's set. Dear Lord. And I can still boost their quality and shit too.
Fine.
Now let's see where I'm at. Jesus, 43%. I'm gonna dodge everything. Oh, that's awesome. Alright, so let me put the rest of this stuff away real quick. That's super dope. What does it recommend in my build? Strider vest. Alright, well, with that being done, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off later instead. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back on Saturday at 3. And yeah, until then, enjoy your start of your weekend. I'll see you guys then. Peace and light.